So this is the first side in a video of 5 sides that I tried to make. Coincidentally, in our household, there's one of us usually that like traditional and the other one that likes something a little dressed up. A little dressed up usually costs a little bit more. I tried to do the little dressed up one, which is me, for this dish, very cost effectively in that, because I used to just eat what my husband did, and that was sweet potatoes with marshmallows and call it good. But now I found a different way to make them for myself, and so I found some cost effective ingredients, some economical ingredients that will obviously last for another meal. So here is the one dish. Got these little tiny, I don't know if they're Libby or what. I thrifted them a long time ago, and they have lids. So one of them I'm going to put marshmallows on, and one of them I'm going to drizzle some great value pure maple syrup, which I think is a really good maple syrup. I found this Vermont creamy goat cheese. I believe this was at Aldi. I'll have it in the show notes. I bought it, I think, a week ago now. And we went to both stores. I think I got this at Aldi, and it was on sale for $2.28, $2.48, and of course that will I'll just be using a little bit of it for my little dish. And then some chopped pecans, and those are from Walmart, and I believe those are $1.28. And then the marshmallows for his, there were no name brand or anything like that. These will last quite a while. They're nice and soft in that. I may make some Rice Krispie bars or something like that around Thanksgiving and that, because we are having people in, so that'll last for then. So we'll just put a few of these marshmallows on one and then get them nice and browned, and then I will drizzle some syrup and a few pecans and crumble some of that goat cheese on this one. So more dressed up, traditional in our household, and 2 sides that I will have the cost breakdown. And like I said, the maple syrup will have pancakes and waffles and French toast with that for probably another month and a half. Pecans will last through Christmas baking, as long as I keep them in the, actually keep my nuts, pecans and walnuts, in the freezer. And the marshmallows we'll use at Thanksgiving for some Rice Krispie bars. And goat cheese, of course, whatever's left of that, I will just snack on that with carrots and celery. So here they are, my husband and my side dish. Traditional for him and dressed up for me. So I'll put them in the oven. It'll brown the marshmallows. It'll warm everything through. Mine will probably go in just a little bit less than his, and because I actually like the cheese not to be melted, but a little warm, and obviously the sweet potato is still warm. So those are our sides. This is one of 5 sides that I'm doing in a video to show some sides that you can serve with holiday meals that are economical, affordable, and tasty. Okay, the next side that I'm going to make is some cranberry chutney. So I'm going to make it right now and have a couple of jars for us here in this household. I'm going to give one away to a friend. I'm going to show you all the ingredients and how to make it, and then later on, closer to the holidays, I'll probably make up 6 to 12 jars and give them to friends for holiday meals. So it's an easy recipe. I have, I think, almost all great value ingredients. If it's important to you how much I spent on each side, I will have the ingredients and the prices next to it in the description. If it's not, there'll be a link for the recipe if you're interested in trying it. So you're going to need some olive oil. I'll have the measurements here in a minute. Some cinnamon, ground cloves, allspice, 12-ounce package of cranberries, some brown sugar, a medium red onion, 2 good-sized apples, some apple cider vinegar, and some salt. Okay, here's the ingredients in my pan. So you take a tablespoon of olive oil and put it in your pan. And I chose, I love the Crofton pans that you can buy at Aldi. I'll have to have it in the show notes how many cups it is, but you can definitely use a smaller one, because as you can see, it doesn't even come halfway. So a tablespoon of olive oil in this on medium heat, and then chop up a medium red onion and then cook it until it is softened. So you would have a softened medium red onion cooked in olive oil. And then to that you would add 2 large cooking apples that you've peeled, cored, and chopped. You can put in a Honeycrisp or Granny Smith, or if you're used to cooking with apples and there's one that you like better than that, go for it. Put in 1 12-ounce bag of fresh or frozen cranberries, a cup of apple cider vinegar, a cup of brown sugar packed, 1 cup of water, 1 teaspoon of grated fresh ginger, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a half teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground allspice, and a 1/2 cup of golden raisins, which are optional. And cook or bring to a boil and then cook on a medium to medium high heat for 20 to 25 minutes. So I'll be back after it has come to a boil and has begun to cook. Okay, here we are, and it has been brought to a boil. So from the time that you start the recipe where you're softening the onions, which will take about 5 minutes, then when you add all of the ingredients that I listed, it'll take probably another 8 minutes to come to a boil, and then you are to turn it down to simmer. I had mine on medium high the whole time. Turn down to simmer and cook for 25 more minutes. So 25 more minutes from now, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, and 25 minutes later, it is cooked up. The cranberries have burst. If it's your first time making anything with cranberries, never stand over the pot because they do burst, and the hot juice goes everywhere. So that's why I have it in this deep pan. You wouldn't want it in much more of a shallow pan, because when they burst, they go like up to about here. But if you were hovering over the top of it, you would definitely get splattered. So everything is all softened up, and it's starting to thicken up. We'll show you what it looks like. Similar to just the homemade cranberry sauce that I make, but it's a chutney. So it has chunks of apple that is softened, and you can add the yellow currants. And a piece that's got a... You can add the currants, but the onions were, I had them just a tiny bit golden, but they were softened, and then all the spices cooked together, and then as it cools, it's going to get thicker, and then I washed up some jars, so I have some ball jelly jars or jam jars, and then I always buy this kind of jam every year at Christmas time, so I've got one of these. So wash the jars up, and then when it's cool, you're just going to put it in there, and I put the lids on. If I want to freeze one, I put the lid on and leave a little room in the top and put it in a plastic bag and freeze it. It's good for up to 6 months. I usually get it eaten up within 2. I'm going to have one in the refrigerator, and I'm going to give one to a friend. So when I go and put them in the jars, I will give you a look at what it looks like. And here's the finished product. I took out 3 jars and washed them up, sterilized them, and that's exactly how much cranberry chutney that I made. So it's chunky, it's thick. I'm going to be making some cornbread. Maybe that's the first time I'm going to be having cornbread. Usually I have like Parker House rolls and stuff that I put jams or jellies or stuff for holidays with, crackers, or even I've made sourdough rolls and bread. But this year I'm going to try the cornbread with the chutney and see how that goes. So my next side will be cornbread. Okay, and I thought that I would show you the cranberry chutney. So it is chunky. You get chunky pieces of apple and cranberry. It tastes like cranberry, it tastes like the red onion, and then it kind of tastes like the clove. I thought the clove would not be as predominant as it is in the flavor, in the taste, but it is. In the future, I do plan on making this again, but I would not add the clove. If clove is something that you're okay with, then more power to you, because you'll get a hint of that in the smell and in the taste. If you love any type of cooked or fried onions, or just onions that are softened in that, especially red onions, you'll love the flavor combination of that and the cranberries. So it's supposed to be an accompaniment for turkey, and I would imagine it would be good with chicken, possibly even ham or pork chops. I'm going to be making as one of my sides cornbread, so we're going to see if it works with cornbread. So that is the taste, and it's nice and chunky and thick. So yeah, I will definitely be making cranberry chutney again. Okay, I'm going to finish working on the butternut squash soup. So first of all, I bought 2 medium-sized butternut squash from a local grocery store, and both of them combined cost me $1.58. So I got a really good price. Farmer brought in their squash and not only butternut, but they brought in some summer squash and some zucchini, and we're selling it at rock bottom prices. So you can't always get that lucky. I will put in what Walmart or Aldi, or maybe both, what they're selling their butternut squash for this week. So I got, out of 2 medium butternut squash, about approximately 1.5 cups of squash. So I'm going to add 1 cup of chicken broth to it. You can always thin it out more, but if you over add the liquid in the beginning, you're going to have kind of a thin soup. So I'm going to add 1 cup of the chicken broth. I'm going to add a teaspoon of ginger and salt and pepper, and I'm going to see what it tastes like. So here's where I am with the butternut squash soup. So I've got 1.5 cups of butternut squash. I pulsed it in my one of my mixers because my hand pulser thing that pulverizes things is broke. I'm getting a new one here soon. So I used it just to smooth the squash into the broth. So far I make my own broth, so I've put 16 ounces of broth into 1.5 cups of the squash, and it's nearly where I want it to be. I've added ginger. I want it to be a nice year-round soup, but definitely for fall, definitely when you're just not in the mood to eating much, possibly just need something warm in your stomach, or you have an upset stomach with the ginger in it. I think that it's perfect. So it's a calm your stomach, calm your digestion, but also a nice fall soup. So I've added salt, a little pepper, 1.5 teaspoons of the ginger, and just a drop of olive oil. And I'm going to simmer it here a little bit, see if I need to add more chicken broth, and I will show you the finished product. Okay, here is the butternut squash soup. And this is about how thick I want it. And it does that kind of a plop. Like that. It's not really running off the spoon, but it's not going off in big, heavy lumps either. So this is about how we want it. And I'm going to put it in a bowl and show you how I'm going to dress it up. And here we are, my butternut squash soup. Got a little bit of heavy cream. Could have been a little thicker in that, but it is really tasty. Actually, I might do a little bit of that and cook it through next time. And some salted pepitas on top. So the soup tastes like squash. There's a hint of the ginger, just a slight hint. You don't taste the salt, you don't taste the pepper, and you do taste a little bit of chicken. So you can taste the chicken broth a little bit. You mostly just taste smooth, pureed, creamy squash. If you like the taste of butternut squash, that's what you're going to taste with this soup. And so my husband just called at noon, and he can hardly wait to come home and have a bowl of this. We've never had this on a regular basis. We've had it in restaurants. I couldn't find a recipe that really worked for us because it always called for onions and garlic and celery, and I can't eat any of those 3, and I know that sounds horrible. But yes, the ginger, the salt and the pepper, the chicken broths, a little bit of olive oil, and then some cream. I couldn't find any creme fraiche in the area, so a little bit of cream. You can have it, I would assume, cold or hot. Mine is going to be hot, and there it is. Okay, and my 4th side is deviled eggs. So keeping it real, my husband has 2 and I have 2. So I'm going to boil up 4 eggs, and then I'm going to make deviled eggs out of them. And that is my 4th side for holiday meals, whether it be Thanksgiving, Christmas, even New Year's. It's a favorite in our household. Both of us love them. So we'll let these boil in that, and then I'll show you how I take the yolk out, make a filling of it, put it back into the white part of the egg, put them on a pretty plate, sprinkle my husband's half with paprika, and that is the 4th side. Okay, and here's how I make the deviled egg mix. So 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise. I've got, of course, the yolks of the egg, 1 teaspoon of mustard, and some salt and pepper. And then I'm just going to whip that up, make it nice and smooth, and then I'm going to put it in a bag. I do have a piping bag, but I'm just going to put it in a sandwich bag, cut the tip off, fill the empty little eggshells, and then my husband likes paprika sprinkled over the top. The final side that I have is some Krusteaz honey cornbread. So I bought this at Walmart. I have made my own homemade cornbread, but I prefer this. So for this box, if you have a square pan, you'll need 2/3 of a cup of milk, 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil, and 1 egg. If you want muffins, then 1/2 cup of milk, 1/3 cup of the vegetable oil, and 1 egg. I'm just going to mix it in this bowl and then heat the oven to 375. Pour it into your pan or muffin liners, or spoon the batter into the pan. And then you're going to bake, depends on what kind of pan you have. I have an 8x8, so I'm going to do 375 for up to 29 minutes. But I am going to check it at 22 because it's a 30-year-old oven. So that is my 5th side, so I'm going to put that in the bowl and get the ingredients, mix it up, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, here's the egg, the oil, and the milk, so I'm going to stir it up. And so here is the 5th side cornbread. It turned out really good. It's nice and moist, has a nice crumb, and of course I always have cornbread with honey. So I'm going to make a plate of a piece of this great cornbread with some honey as my midnight snack, and then I'm going to head to bed. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will have all of the sides and recipes and cost, current cost for the items in the description. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more videos about food budgeting, meal planning, a weekly menu and meal prep, saving money at the grocery store, saving money in general, cutting grocery and household expenses, hit the subscribe button because that's what my channel's about, and I'd love to have you here. Okay, I want to take a couple of minutes to thank some friends of the channel for the birthday gifts and cards sent to me this week for my birthday. So I have mentioned that I love primitive stuff, and I was sent this primitive Santa, which I absolutely love. Thank you so much, Sue. I absolutely love him. And thank you also for the Candy Cane Forest wax melts. We bought new wax melt, whatever they're called, where the wax sits in, burners or whatever, plug-ins, and we haven't been able to find anything to melt in it until now. Thank you. Linda, another follower of the channel, sent me some Christmas items. So a beautiful little Christmas tree, and in the dark, the green and the white lights on it are lit up. And I think you do have to put a battery maybe in it to get it really illuminated, because I think there is a battery in there that's almost gone. And these little ornaments for the Christmas tree, Mrs. Santa Claus. I know I've written a couple blog posts. I don't know if I mentioned it in videos, but I love Santa and Mrs. Claus. And Mr. Claus or Santa Claus and another little ornament. So, new things for Christmas. Thank you so much, Linda. And I asked my husband, I thought I would share this. This is available at Hobby Lobby. I've always wanted a nativity scene. I didn't want the ones with lots of little pieces because I didn't want to lose the pieces, and I also didn't want it to get dusty. I really don't have an area really anywhere that would do it justice if, you know, one of the larger nativity scenes. So this is stained glass. It's like maybe 5x7, 5x8, and I love it. So my husband got me that. A friend that I used to work with bought me this one. And this one she said she got for me at Walmart. So Hobby Lobbies and Walmart. Easy to take care of. Put it just about anywhere. No moving parts, so nothing that can fall out, get lost, or have a kitty or a pet run away with. And some lovely cards. My husband gave me this card because the golden retriever or Irish setter and stuff like those dogs are some of my favorites. So that card from hubby, and a mouse card from Linda. Beautiful hair rabbit card from Sue. And kitty card from Chris. Thank you so much, everyone, for the cards, for the birthday greetings, and for the gifts.